sense of humor when I'm feeling down. You know I'm running to when the sun goes round. Take away my troubles, yeah, she gonna take away my grief, take away my heartaches all night like this. Won't you give me love, love, yeah, crazy love. She give me love, love, yeah, crazy love. And I feel so far away. She bring me sunshine, yeah, she gonna brighten up my day. She make me happy, oh yeah, don't you? Make me whole, make me righteous, and I right down to my soul. Won't you give me love, 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 yeah, yeah, crazy love. She give me good night, thank you. You're a big mob, I'm going to do one more. Yeah, this is the Vina. And it's got the lower level of strings, got the upper level. I had an accident with my finger, so I usually use my little finger, but I'm getting by fine with 4.
In fact, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the little bits of padding that you have.
Oh, that's just to stop the sliding, because they always slide, you know, and I've always had, and this is the rest of my finger, it's nothing exotic, it's very simple. But I put rubber, you know, like Clark's rubber special on there, so it doesn't slip away from me when I sit. And because it wants to travel.
Yeah.
It's got a lower level of strings, those ones in there. And I tune them to the strings on top.
But so you've actually got
12 strings down below, and they're attached here, and the 8 on top are attached over there. 7. There's one of them still attached down here.
You obviously had this made, especially for you.
Yeah, I had this one made. I had 5 of them made in Calcutta about 15 years ago, and I've got just 2 left. I gave 3 away out of the 5. And now I've got these 2 in there.
So how did you know what you wanted?
Well, I studied with a fellow that actually designed it and created it, and I was his student for 5 years. I lived in his place for 5 years.
What was his name?
Vishwa Mohan Bhatt. 5 years in Rajasthan with him, and he taught me to play that. And then I had my own maid, you know.
Did you do anything else for that 5 years?
Meditate.
So you stayed there for 5 years solid?
I stayed 12 years in India, 5 with him. Yeah, I lived in Pune for 7 years, then I moved up to Rajasthan for 5 years. I stayed a long time.
Is that something that you planned on doing, or it just happened?
Just thought it was a nice place to be. I loved it. When I got the message, I left. Hung up the phone.
You were ready to leave.
I was, you know, I'd been there long enough that I wanted to go to the West and use what I had, you know, which is what I'm doing now, sort of like, you know, you have to share it, you have to use it, otherwise it doesn't go anywhere. And my teacher knew that in India. He told me to you know, go out and play and start doing your thing. Stop staying here and studying. Well, I first heard this tune played by a band, I think they're from around here. You might have heard of them, the Chixie Dicks. You know, I practiced scales for about 3 years with Vishwa, just like that. So, you know, you'd spend a lot of time working on the ABC, and that really never ends. It's an ongoing thing.
Young fella growing up in Toronto, and you're obviously into the blues and stuff.
Yes.
That obviously changed a little bit along the way. Was that because of those sort of psychedelic sort of influences that were coming through into the blues thing as you were growing up, or was that your own journey?
You know, I loved the blues, and I was never much of a rock musician, but I worked with bands, with rock bands and stuff. But Indian music, you know, that's just like, it's some kind of weird jazz or weird blues, you know, and I loved it for that. And it has a deep, you know, spiritual aspect too. They use it for that. And it sort of makes sense if you live in India. Indian music starts to have some relevance. You have some context to put it in, and it becomes very interesting. It's actually got a real structure to it, and once you know that structure, it becomes even more fascinating. You start to listen into it deeper. And it's heavy stuff. It's jazz.
listen to Yale, you can call him a good friend of mine. A good friend of mine. Well, he was taken down by the man at his door. Cloak of desperation now, yeah, wrapped around his soul. Wrapped around his soul. So am a quartermaid, make it all alright. Send in the window sill. So am a quartermaid, yeah. And I stood below your window, you know some things I understand. Out in the world's a struggle and every man needs a plan. Every man needs a plan, yeah. Yeah, you listen without words, you know it's not everyone can see. Yeah, but I recognize your eyes when we, oh, they once belonged to me. They once belonged to me, yeah. So I'm a quartermaid, make it all alright. Sail in the window sill. So I'm a quartermaid, you walk the street at sunrise, no matter where you choose. Questions without answers, and they continue to burn. But it's a fine, fine thread that keeps you in this place. Yeah, but I see you found yourself someplace. Oh, it's written on your face. Written on your face. So I'm a quartermaid, make it all alright. Send in the window sill. So I'm a quartermaid, yeah.
This is a 6-string banjo. I play it because it sounds like the sarod. Like an Indian instrument, you know, it's a skin stretched over. You know, I don't think of it like a hillbilly thing, more of a like an Eastern instrument.
Or the mountaintop.
Yeah, I can do the hillbilly thing too. I like that. I like it for that, but it's really good for Indian stuff. You know, it's interesting with Indian music. If you think about it, they have ragas for all times of day now. a morning raga, you know, is like the day's waking up. Eh? It's so appropriate. You see, you can hear that raga is for the day. Now this one you can hear is for the night. It's got a bluesy, you know. Dark. If you play that on the slide, it's really dark.
But the fragrance just ain't easy. I can give you the world, but I can't give you the meaning. All our sons and daughters, if you hear but listen now, leave your doubt to the others and leave your sorrow on the rocks. Well, 84 million poems she wrote, more than enough to sink this old boat. Got to launch back in 100 years with empty hands to carry my tears away. Carry my tears. Carry my tears. Carry my tears.
Hey, I've got my friend James on the sound tonight and lights, doing a wonderful job. Give it up for them.
This particular instrument, where did you get it?
Oh, you know, it's not an expensive instrument. I bought it in a shop in Canada. It's not expensive. It's $500. It's not well made, but I had a friend fix it a little bit. And, it works. It's good enough. It's more about what you put into the instrument, you know. The instrument itself is not special. How you play it, that's going to make the difference.
I appreciate that. Paul Workman, who blames this.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of instruments. I'm not a collector. I have the ones I use on the road and a few extras, and that's about it. And they get dirty. I never clean them. They're tools. The music is what it's about.
I recently got to play the old banjo for a movie soundtrack. And just like you imagine, you go to the studio and it's just one big screen and there's one chair, that's your chair. You sit there and you play along while the movie's rolling. Much like what I used to do at home with the TV. Never got paid for that. It was real fun, and the movie was about a mining camp at the end of the last century, and two fellows were talking there near the railroad tracks, have a little conversation, and when they started talking, the light came on in the studio. Play now. What's the movie called? The Timekeeper.